Welcome to My Business Matters, the Michigan Chamber podcast.
Hello, I'm Becky Burtka, Vice President of Member Engagement at the Michigan Chamber, and today's podcast host will take you on inside an energizing initiative, the National Civics Bee. It's a fast-growing nationwide competition that helps middle schoolers strengthen their civic knowledge, think critically about real community issues, and build their problem-solving skills. And as we head towards America's 250th birthday in 2026, there is no better time to talk about how we inspire the next generation of informed and engaged citizens. And today, we have three fantastic guests with us. So joining us, we have Hilary Crow. She's the Vice President of Civics at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation, who oversees the national effort and brings a front row view to how the bee is taking off across the country. We also have Thomas Paden. He's the President of the Canton Chamber of Commerce, whose team helped bring schools and students into this year's competition, and, I might add, helped Michigan lead the nation in student essay submissions. And we also have with us Ashley Tall. She's Michigan's 2025 National Civics Bee state champion, who's now a freshman at Huron High School in Ann Arbor. She also just represented Michigan on the national stage in Washington, D.C. on November 11th. So we'll look back at the highlights from this year's competition. We'll talk about momentum going into 2026 and share how students across Michigan can submit their essays this time by February 3rd to participate. We have a lot to cover, so let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Thanks, Becky. Happy to be here.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Amazing. All right. So this is the second year Michigan has participated in the National Civics Bee. Full of inspiring and sometimes very intense moments, but want to take a step back and ensure that our listeners have maybe a strong foundation first on this topic. So I'm going to start with Hilary. Hilary, can you tell us a little bit about how this got started and give us just a quick overview of what the bee is and how it works?
Absolutely. Great question. So the National Civics Bee started because we saw a real need. Several years ago, we started looking at, trends around declining trust in institutions and declining support for democracy. And what we really found was that civic knowledge and participation have really been slipping for years. And we wanted to do something about it that could really inspire people in an impactful way. So we thought, why not make civics exciting and interactive? So the National Civics Bee is a competition for middle school students, and we invite them to start by submitting an essay on a community issue that they care about. And finalists from regions all across the country advance to live quiz rounds where they answer civics questions in front of an audience. They answer questions from panels of judges. And then the state champions from each state advance to a national championship. And we're really thrilled that for this cycle that has kicked off for 2025-2026, we've expanded to all 50 states, Washington, D.C., and even American Samoa. And so it's fun, it's challenging, and it really gets kids thinking about how they can make a difference in their community.
Yeah, I know that we've seen just a lot of good benefits even here in Michigan. And, I want to ask Ashley, as our resident expert, kind of looking back at this year's state competition at our state capitol that we hosted. It was definitely filled with a lot of energy and curiosity and some really tough civics questions. So, Ashley, is there any moment that sticks out to you the most? And why? Or, what was your big takeaway from the whole experience?
Well, it was super fun to see all of the competitors and their innovative proposals and their overall interest in civics to improve their communities. And it was also fun to speak about my proposal and educate about the effects that vehicle emissions have on the environment, because I think this is a really big issue because our air quality is worsening every year.
And that's a pretty big topic. I know that you've been doing a lot of work on that, even at the local level, talking to your townships.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Thomas, what did you notice about the competitors, the students, the schools, just being that, that awesome recruiter that you guys are down in Canton?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest things that I noticed was confidence, not just knowledge. These students, they didn't just memorize facts, but they came prepared to discuss real issues in their communities. And we're always so proud when we think about our competition that we host on the local level. Members of my staff, Pamela Batchel, was able to attend the state competition. And what we saw out of both competitions was just real pride. Really good engagement from family members, from the community. And for me, that's what civic learning should actually look like. It's a team effort. It's a community effort. And so when students actually see that their voices matter, I think that it energizes the entire community. And so it really gave us a lot of hope for the future to see that we have these bright young people in our pipeline, in our communities.
Yeah, for sure. Ashley, I'm going to put you on the spot again. I want to learn a little bit more about, you as a statewide champion and representing Michigan at the national competition, that's huge. So you should be continuously patting yourself on the back. It's monumental. But what made you want to throw your hat in the ring? And decide on that essay. That essay topic that's pretty heavy.
Well, I first got into civics and government from my former middle school's youth and government club, and that got me interested in that area of government and eventually led me to apply for the National Civics Bee. And as for my project, I was on the roads and I saw big plumes of smoke coming from cars, and I thought that there should be a law against this, but I researched it later and found that there was nothing preventing this from happening. So I'm trying to reach out to a nonprofit or other organization to help me put my project into effect.
That's got to feel good from a leadership perspective, really taking advantage of that opportunity and using your voice for change.
Yeah.
Hilary, what are you seeing from a national perspective? What are those, common threads?
It's interesting because the topics vary widely, right? Everything from environmental concerns to mental health to local infrastructure, education. But the common thread is that students really want to make a positive impact in their communities, and they're thinking deeply about real-world problems and proposing solutions. And that's what makes the Bee so powerful. It shows students that their voices matter and that civic engagement starts right where they live.
Definitely. And Thomas, you helped engage schools and motivate students to participate. And, I think I said this earlier, but I'm proud to say Michigan is the home to the most student essays submitted this year, in large part thanks to you and Canton's work. So what worked best? What were some of those aha moments that you could share with maybe other chambers or even educators?
Yes, thanks for that question. The Canton Chamber and our team, we are so excited about the part that we played into, Michigan leading the nation in essay submissions this year. We're so proud about that, and we tell that story all the time. And I really think that it really came from two things: personal outreach and really having strong relationships with our school districts. We didn't just when we first started this off, even last year, it wasn't just about sending out flyers or sending electronic communications or anything like that. We actually went into schools. We talked with teachers. We held virtual sessions with superintendents and really tried to help them appreciate that it isn't just a competition. It's a platform for your students to actually lead. And I think that one of the surprising lessons was again, nurturing the relationships that we had, utilizing the relationship that we had with our school districts. After our first year, our school districts were so excited to have participated in this, and they said, and we talked with them, and we're like, what can we do next year to make this bigger and better? And so going into 2025, our school district here, the Plymouth Canton School District, actually made it a part of their curriculum, their social studies curriculum. So the National Civics Bee was a part of the curriculum to participate and write an essay about issues that they saw in their community. And so that really was a large platform that we were able to step up on and get more engagement. Not only here for Canton, but for all of our students within our region, because we were representing students throughout Southeast Michigan. And I think the aha moment was that, students really respond to local relevance when they understand that they can identify an issue right here in Canton or right in their neighborhoods, even obviously speaking for Ashley being in the Ann Arbor area. But when they can actually identify an issue in their neighborhood, it becomes real, not just in theory or theoretical. So I think the winning formula for us was to build the relationships and also make it meaningful.
Definitely, and I mean, it worked for sure. You guys have had great response from educators, from your students, and Ashley did come from your local civics bee there, even though she was outside of the school district. But your reach was further than just your local community school. So, kudos to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
So I want to talk a little bit about the quiz portion, because there's an audience quiz alongside the student quiz, and it's humbling. I can't even say how many questions I got right. It was a little embarrassing. But adults in the audience, alongside those students up there. But Ashley, how did you prepare for those questions, and what did you learn about maybe your community or government along the way?
So I used the study guide that was provided, and I read various federal documents, as well as create several practice quizzes for myself to prepare for the state and national competitions. And I also learned about some Supreme Court cases and their effects that they have on us still today. So, for example, in Marbury versus Madison, the concept that was found there was the concept of judicial review, and that is still used in our society and government today.
Look at you, still remembering these things and bringing it to the podcast. Well done. I will say that those audience quizzes are great. So Hilary, whoever's idea that was at the foundation, excellent work, because I think it really elevates the participation level just in the entire room. But
yes, absolutely it does.
It makes it a little fun. Not that it's not already fun, but all right. Well, I want to talk a little bit too about something that Hilary had noted, because I think, as we study for the bee, or as the students are studying for the bee, and as we're participating in that audience quiz, while everything's going on and we're, answering questions alongside of the students, one of the reasons for the bee was the decline in civic participation and just knowledge nationwide. So I'm curious, from maybe vantage points, Thomas and Ashley, as a student leader, and then as a community and business leader, what do you think can help spark engagement and curiosity from young people, but also just the broader citizenry? So Ashley, I'll start with you.
Okay. So as you guys already previously mentioned, I applied to the Civics Bee in the Canton Chamber, even though I live in Ann Arbor. So I'm starting a civics club at one of the Ann Arbor middle schools to encourage students in Ann Arbor to apply for the Civics Bee, and maybe in the future create our own local competition in Ann Arbor.
Awesome. I love that. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I think that's so amazing, Ashley. We can't tell you how proud we are here at the Canton Chamber of Ashley Tall. She has represented so well, and obviously just hearing about the next step that she's taking makes us even more proud. So kudos to you, Ashley. I think that when we, talk about continuing to spark an engagement, I think what's important is that we need to give people, and obviously especially young people, a chance to practice citizenship and not just learn about it. And so when a student gets up and presents an idea to improve their town, improve their community, or improve their school, it suddenly becomes personal to them. It becomes real to them. It becomes meaningful, as I mentioned previously. So I think that's so important that we continue to give young people that platform to actually engage. And that's actually what the Bee does, what the Civics Bee does. It gives them an opportunity to engage and not just sit in a room of four walls and just listen and be instructed about engaging, but actually it gives them a platform to be proactive, and it becomes meaningful to them. I think from the business and community side, obviously being a business-led and community-led organization, we have a responsibility to create these platforms and engage with these platforms. So, any chamber hosted events, obviously this is the reason why we brought the National Civics Bee, why we wanted to bring it to our community. We're always hosting or giving our community members, even young people, a platform to engage in volunteer leadership, engage with our local government, because the more we empower students to speak up and see the impact of their ideas, the more that they will want to keep engaging. And that's really where the spark comes from.
Definitely. And, we're heading into a pretty big year, 2026, the semi-quincentennial, and I've been practicing saying that word. But Hilary, this is a big year. I know this next year we will be going into our third year as a state competing, but I know this is not the third year that the U.S. Chamber Foundation has been active in this, this project. We joined when it was a pilot, but I don't feel like it's a pilot anymore if we have all 50 states. So what excites you most about next year as we move in to 2026 and that next Civics Bee cycle?
So much. 2026 is so special because, as you said, it's a semi-quincentennial, the 250th anniversary of our nation's founding. And the National Civics Bee will be a centerpiece for celebrating civic engagement during this historic year. We're working toward making the national championship in 2026 a nationally televised event. So imagining millions of Americans watching these inspiring and impressive middle schoolers showing off their civic knowledge and skills and disposition is so inspiring and really thrilling to us. And just see this as a huge opportunity to elevate the next generation of leaders all across our country and really show us what civics is really all about. And also just want to sort of underscore what Thomas just said about we have to make civics real. We have to make sure that it feels relevant and that it's experiential, that it's a hands-on experience. It's not just an academic one. And so just providing that opportunity to students in every state across the country is really exciting.
For sure. And Ashley, I want to ask, as we're kind of winding down here, any advice you'd give to any middle schoolers that are thinking about entering?
Yeah. So for middle schoolers that are thinking about entering, you can have big impacts in your communities and in our nation, even as young people. And for me, I think something that made me stand out was talking to members in my community to gain input and interest for my program.
You also talked to state legislators, too, which I vividly remember you talking about when you were on stage.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So really great job reaching out to all stakeholders involved and getting all of those diverse perspectives. And Thomas, what would you tell schools about the value of participating?
And we're having these conversations right now with the school districts that are in our region, and I have to just take a quick moment to give Pamela Batcho, our director of membership and community outreach. I have to just shout her out because Pamela has really helped spearhead this initiative for our organization and for our community, and she has done an outstanding job. So I just want to make sure that I give her a shout out. But what we always, when we're talking with educators, school leaders, school administrators, we always try to tell them that this isn't just an academic contest. It actually builds leadership. It builds leaders. And so students really walk away from this experience, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ashley, but students really walk away with stronger writing skills, sharper public speaking, I believe a deeper understanding of how their communities work. And they also learn, again, that their voice matters, that they can be a part of actually shaping what comes next. And so that's the story that we try to communicate to our schools when we're talking about the value of participating. And if I could take that one step further, even when we are speaking to local employers, and we speak about, well, why, or they may wonder, well, why is the Canton Chamber participating in this event? And so the question that I always even frame to employers is, I ask them, well, wouldn't you want an employee that is civically engaged? How much of a better employee would they be because they know how the community works? They're involved in their community. They know the leadership in their community. And that makes for a well-rounded employee. And so even from that side, this event is not only obviously about engaging for us, not only about engaging our young people in civic dialogue, but even when we take it that next step further when it comes to workforce development, we see this as a workforce development initiative as well, because we are providing our employers with potential employees of the future that are really engaged in their community, and how much of a great employee would that be for them.
I love how you showcase that, because I think, it's so important to underscore that, this isn't just about civics. This isn't just about, it's about a community as a whole and how that ecosystem works. And why is the Michigan Chamber Foundation or the U.S. Chamber Foundation or, the Canton Chamber involved in this? It's because we know that investments like these make a difference, and we look forward to seeing what those investments, show in dividends in the future with folks like Ashley and our 2024 winner Evan, as they go on and do just amazing things. So I love how you characterize that. But as always, our time seems to go by so fast, and I just loved having this conversation with the three of you today. A very special thanks to Hilary, to Thomas, and to Ashley for being with us, and for the work that each of them are doing to strengthen civic engagement. But remember that you can get all the details at michamber.com/MICivicsBee. To learn more, subscribe or like to our podcast for easy notifications. But until then,